Hello and welcome to Assembly in Your House. My name is Chris and I'm here today with my daughter Megan and my very special dog Jaeger. And in today's assembly we're going to find out all about people with sight loss, as well as why I've got such a special dog and what job he does. So we're going to start with that. So Jaeger is actually a guide dog. And what that means is that he looks after people who have problems with their eyes. People like myself. So I am actually blind. And if we start to think about what that means, being blind means that you can't necessarily see things very well. It means your eyes don't work as well as other people's eyes. So some people, if we all close our eyes right now, that is what it looks like to some people. They can't see anything at all. Other people like myself are a little bit luckier, so I can see some things, but things are not always very clear. Things look quite blurry and it's really hard to sometimes tell what objects are in front of me and things like that. The best way I can describe it is if we were all in a park and you were looking on a nice clear sunny day. You might be able to see the swings and the slide and your friends in the park. But then on a foggy day, if you looked at the same park, whilst you know the swings and the slide and your friends might be there, you might not see them as clearly because the fog is in the way, stopping your eyes from seeing things. And it's a little bit like that with my eyesight. Even if I put glasses on or got better glasses, it wouldn't take that fog away. It's a little bit like having fog in my eyes, and that's what stops me from being able to see clearly. So because of this, I decided to get myself a guide dog, and I was very lucky to get Jaeger. And Jaeger's job is to keep me safe. So he uses his eyes to basically look, so as we're walking down the street, he'll look for things like lampposts, wheelie bins, cars that might be on the curb, and he'll take me around those obstacles. So he won't just take himself around them, he will take both of us around the obstacle, keeping us safe, and then we can carry on our journey. But of course, you can't just get any dog and turn it into a guide dog. You need to think about what qualities makes a good guide dog. So the first one is that they're very, very friendly because they're going to be around lots of people. And they also need to be very smart because of course the dogs are going to need to be smart to think about where they're going to go and when they're going to go there. So now we know what the dogs need. We now need to think about what type of dogs fit that sort of criteria, if you will. So firstly, we have the Labrador. There's also Golden Retriever. There's Poodle, and there's German Shepherd. So there's 4 types of dog breed, and guide dogs will breed all their own dogs. So how does that work? Well, once they've got a new puppy, what they will do, and shall we show our puppy, Megan? Have you got your puppy to show? So they'll get a little puppy like this, that's it, hold it up to the camera, and we can tell that it's a guide dog puppy because it's got its little blue jacket on. And you might see a little puppy like this out and about. It might be in the supermarket or it might be at the hairdressers. They'll get a little puppy like this, about 8 weeks old, and they'll start to make them learn, or start to teach them to learn. A little bit like you boys and girls who'll be at school. The little puppy will live with a family and they'll teach it how to do lots and lots of different things. Now, we're going to show you in a few minutes' time some of those things that puppy has to learn. And we're going to start off by thinking about behaviour, because of course these puppies have to behave themselves if they're going to go into all these different places. So right now, we're going to show you a quick clip of how Jaeger behaves himself. So Megan and I are outside now with Jaeger. As you can see, Jaeger's looking very keenly at one of Megan's treats. And we're just going to show you some of the basic commands that he would have learnt when he was a puppy. So the first one, about getting his attention. So Jaeger, come. Jaeger, come here. Come. Good boy, and sit. Sit. Good boy, well done. And so because he's sat very nicely, he can now have a treat, and we can say, well done. Wait. Good boy, and wait. Good boy, eggs. Good boy. Good boy. Wait. Wait. Down. 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 So now we can see he's laid down very, very nicely. So again, we can say well done. We always use food to say well done to the dogs. There you go. Good boy, well done. I think he's been a really good boy, Megan. Want to come and give him a treat? Good boy. And so, as you can see, Jaeger loves his food. What we're going to do now, after we've washed our hands, we're going to go back inside and we're going to show you what happens when Jaeger has his tea. So as you can see, Jaeger's all set for his tea. And even though it's all weighed out and ready for him, he's been very, very patient and waiting for me to blow my whistle. 3 toots on the whistle will tell him that it's time to start eating. And as you can see, he's going to gobble this all up in one go. We're going to leave him to finish off his tea, and we're going to continue talking about his story to becoming a guide dog. So as you can see there, that's some of the basic commands that Jaeger learnt during the first year of his life. And I say the first year because that's what happens with the puppies. They have this kind of basic training for the first round about 1 year, maybe sometimes a little bit more, where they learn all those little basic skills, and now they're ready to move on to the next journey of their life. And the next journey is where they'd go to one of the guide dog offices. And there's lots of offices up and down the country, and the dogs will arrive there, and that's when they'll start to meet the guide dog trainers. And it's when they meet the guide dog trainers where they're going to start to learn the more complex commands. So for example, they would learn some hand signals that say forward, or find left, and find right. It's also at this point in time where they would start to see one of these for the first time. And as you can see, Jaeger's head just lifted up there, because Jaeger knows that when that harness comes out, that means it's time for work. And they'll get the harness put on them for the first time, and they'll be taken out with these commands, and they'll start to see how the dog works. I should also mention at this point in time, at all the stages, the guide dogs team would assess the dogs and see if they're happy. So obviously if Jaeger wasn't happy working with the harness on, then at that point they may not continue him to become a fully trained guide dog. In that instance, they may look to rehome him. But of course, for all those dogs that are successful and are quite happy to work, it takes about maybe 6 months in the office for them to learn all these skills, and then what would happen is they would start to be matched up with a guide dog owner. A guide dog owner like myself, or a potential guide dog owner. Now what we do is, they look for the right dog for the right person, and they look for the right person for the right dog. So they don't just get any dog, any guide dog, and give it to any owner. They look at what would make that dog happy and what would make me happy. So obviously, as you can see, I've got at least one daughter, I've actually got 2. And so when they looked at Jaeger and what he was used to, Jaeger grew up around some children, and so they knew he would fit nicely into a home life, being around children, and they thought it'd be something that he'd enjoy. They also looked at the fact that I go to work every day, and I was working in an office. So they wanted a dog that was nice and calm. As you can see, Jaeger's very, very calm at the moment. So when I get to the office, it'd help me to get in there, so he'd guide me around any objects to get to my desk at work, and then I can take all his harness and his lead off, and he can just go and lie in his bed and have a nice rest, a nice sleep, and wait until I need him to help me again to get to where I need to be. So, as I say, it was probably just before Jaeger's 2nd birthday in which we were matched together. And at that point in time, Jaeger came and we got to know him, didn't we? We got to brush him and do lots of fun things with him, and obviously I then had to learn all the commands and how I was going to look after him as well. And then obviously once we became fully trained guide dog and guide dog owner, we were able to put the harness on whenever we wish, and I get to go and pick you up from school now, don't I? Which you really like. But of course, Jaeger doesn't just work, does he? Whilst he works really, really hard, like we might do, and you might work really hard at school, what you really like to do at the end of the day is have a bit of fun, isn't it? So when Jaeger's at home, he's basically a little bit like a pet dog, although he's still a very special dog, and there's some things that we might not do, with him the same, so we wouldn't throw any balls for him and things like that, because we don't want him to see a ball on the street and try and chase after it. But what we might do is, we might let him play with some toys, might he? So what we'll do now is show you a couple of clips of Jaeger playing with his toys and playing with us as a family. So Jaeger likes to play with his toys, with all of us as a family. So for example, he's got his squeaky cracker. Where's your cracker? Where's your cracker? You got that? Good boy. He likes to play a little bit of tug with that cracker and tries to get it off me. Leave. I'm going to tell him to leave because Jaeger's other favourite game is to play hide and seek. So Megan, could you go and hide the cracker? Wait. Good boy, sit. Wait. Good boy, wait. Wait. That's it. Good boy. Go get it. Good boy. And he likes to join in with all aspects of family life, even outside when we play in the snow. Steady, go! Go. So I hope you enjoyed those video clips. As you can see, Jaeger was having lots of fun there with the family, especially in the snow. And Jaeger's going to continue to do so until he's about 10 years old. He's going to be 6 this year, so he's got a few more years to go yet. But when he gets to the age of 10, that's when he's going to retire. And he'll get a nice, well-earned rest. At that point, I will get the opportunity to apply for another guide dog who will be able to help me and try and keep me safe. So that's a little bit about Jaeger's journey and how he's come from being a puppy right through to a retired guide dog. But what I want to talk about now is how you can behave around a guide dog. So obviously we've already talked about how Jaeger has to behave. It's really helpful and important that you all behave and help us stay safe as well. So the first lesson is to please never feed a guide dog. So as you saw in the video, yes, Jaeger does love his food, but I will give him a treat when he's done something really well for me. And by giving him that treat, it makes him want to really work hard for me in future. It's also thinking about his weight. So obviously if we just feed him lots of different types of food, he might start to put on too much weight, which is going to make it hard for him to walk and work. And what we don't want him to do is get poorly and therefore have to retire early. So please never feed a guide dog. The next thing I would always ask you is if you think that guide dog looks really cuddly, I'd like to stroke it, please always ask the guide dog owner first and wait until they've stopped. So once they're stood still, you can ask them if it's okay to stroke the dog, and it will depend on the situation. So if that dog is quite new or is particularly concentrating really hard because the owner is in an area that they're not very familiar with, then please accept if they say no, that not on that day would you be able to stroke it. But if they say yes, then please just be extra gentle and stroke the dog. And the dogs always love a bit of a cuddle, and children, boys and girls, and everybody just coming to say hello to them. So they're the 2 do's and don'ts. Never feed and always ask before you try and stroke. Not just a guide dog, but any dog. It's always polite to ask. So as we start to come to the end of the video, it's the section that I normally love the best. It's where you get the opportunity to ask your questions. And if I was there in person with you right now, that's exactly what we would do. Obviously, because this is on a pre-recorded video, what I'd encourage you to do, ask for an adult's help, and in the comments section, leave your first name, your age, your location, and your question. And then at some point soon, what I'm going to do is a follow-up video in which I read them out and answer them for you. I hope you really enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is going to drop. And I'd like to thank you for joining us both today wish you a good day. And shall we say goodbye, Megan? Bye.
Bye.